You know, to me, and I have the idea that you feel about the same way, a chair is a lot more than pieces of wood, soft padding, and nice-looking upholstery. It's more like an old friend.
You know, I agree with you there. Some chairs, when you sit in them, feel friendly. And others, no matter how expensive, well, just don't feel comfortable.
Now, that chair you're sitting in is one I like. It's restful and lazy feeling. Don't you think so?
Yeah. That is a nice chair.
There's a chair you can get attached to. So comfortable you'll have to fight the family to get a seat in it. When you think of all the time you sit in a chair, it's no wonder you want to feel relaxed and at ease.
Symbolic interactionism is a major perspective in sociology. It focuses on how people create meaning through social interaction. The perspective centers around the idea that people act based on what things mean to them. Those meanings are produced through social interaction, and they are not fixed. They are interpreted and negotiated, and they change over time. This film will explore the origins of symbolic interactionism and its impact on sociology, with a focus on the work of George Herbert Mead, Herbert Blumer, Erving Goffman, and Howard Becker. We will examine how the perspective helps us to understand identity, relationships, and society more broadly.
Yes, dear.
You know what day this is?
Yeah. It's the 10th.
Oh, what else?
Huh? Oh, it's my day off, the first one I've had in weeks.
Oh, you've forgotten our anniversary.
That's right, dear. Oh, no. No. I was just trying to tease you. You know, I'll bet you think I forgot that chair you wanted me to get you.
Oh, Ed, that's wonderful.
Yes, dear.
Ed. Ed, are you listening to me?
No. Oh, yeah. Yes, dear. Oh, how could you think such a thing?
Good manners must be practiced as a part of everyday living until consideration for others becomes as much a part of you as your right arm or your 2 feet. If your manners aren't the everyday regular part of you, when special occasions do come up, you may be uncertain, not show up to advantage, and sometimes your lack of assurance results in the embarrassment of doing the wrong thing. At the school cafeteria, show consideration for others. Take your place in line, wait your turn. Don't hold up the path of progress while you compare notes on the exciting play in Saturday's game, but move along as the line moves.
The perspective was developed in the early 20th century from the work of George Herbert Mead. Mead is considered the intellectual founder of symbolic interactionism, but he never used the term himself. He argued that the self develops through our interactions with other people. We learn to see ourselves by imagining how others see us. Taking the role of the other allows us to become self-aware and to consider how others might view us. Mead defined the self as a process that emerges through social interaction. It has 2 distinct but connected aspects, the me and the I. The me is the social side. It forms by taking the perspective of others and internalizing norms and expectations. The I is the spontaneous response to the me. It is active, creative, and unpredictable. The self exists as a process between the 2. It is shaped by society, but never fully determined by it. It is formed through a dialogue between the I and the me, as we interact with others and reflect on who we are.
Soup is eaten quietly from the side of the spoon. Good manners are based on common sense and are easy to acquire if you follow the simple rules. Salads are on your left and are eaten with a fork. And remember, the salad fork will be on the outside.
Will the real Ben Casey please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up.
The term symbolic interactionism was coined by Herbert Blumer, who was a student of Mead. In 1969, Blumer outlines 3 basic premises that shape the theory. First, people act towards things based on the meanings those things have for them. Second, those meanings come from social interaction. And third, meanings are handled and modified through an interpretive process. In other words, human behaviour is not simply a response to external forces. It is shaped by how people interpret the world around them. Blumer argued that sociologists should focus on the process of interaction itself. Meaning is not built into objects or actions. It emerges through communication and shared understanding. For example, a red traffic light only means stop because people agree on that meaning. If that agreement disappeared, the light would lose its meaning. Blumer's approach places emphasis on face-to-face encounters, informal rules, and the subtle cues that guide everyday social life. Society is not something separate from individuals. It is created and maintained through constant interaction. Erving Goffman restated the core ideas of symbolic interactionism using the metaphor of the theatre. In his 1959 book, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, he framed social interaction as a performance, conceptualizing people as actors on a stage. We present ourselves in particular ways depending on our audience and the social context. For Goffman, daily life involves constant impression management. People use gestures and language, clothing, posture and props to shape how others see them. These performances are not necessarily deceptive or cynical. Rather, our performances help to produce and maintain a shared definition of the situation. Goffman's work translates symbolic interactionism into an intuitive language, but retains the basic principle of the perspective, that meaning is produced through interaction. The dramaturgical metaphor gives symbolic interactionism a structure to describe how people construct meaning, moment by moment. Howard Becker applied the symbolic interactionist approach in his study on deviance. In his 1963 book Outsiders, he argued that deviance is not a quality of the act the person commits, but rather a consequence of the application by others of rules and sanctions to an offender. The deviant is one to whom that label has successfully been applied. Deviant behaviour is behaviour that people so label. For Becker, deviance is not an objective category. It is a social definition. What counts as a deviant act depends on how people react to it. The same act may be labelled differently in different contexts. Deviance is not inherent in the act itself. Becker used the concept of labelling to explain how certain individuals or groups become identified as deviant. Once someone is labelled, that label can shape how others treat them and how they see themselves. Over time, this can push people into a deviant identity. Becker called this a deviant career, where further rejection and exclusion lead the person deeper into the role society has assigned to them. In another study, Becker applied symbolic interactionism to marijuana use. He showed that the use of marijuana depends on learned social experience. People learn to smoke it in a way that produces effects, to recognise those effects, and to interpret them as pleasurable. In other words, even the effects of a drug are not purely chemical. They are shaped by interaction, interpretation, and meaning. Becker's work shows how symbolic interactionism can explain behaviour that might otherwise seem individual or biological. Whether the focus is deviant behaviour, identity, or physical sensation, meaning is produced and maintained through social interaction. Symbolic interactionism is not particularly useful for studying large-scale, structural aspects of society. Despite this limitation, it provides a wonderful framework for applying an objective and systematic lens to understand the subjective interactions that structure everyday life. With a focus on the construction of meaning and the importance of everyday social interaction, symbolic interactionism helps us to see how we produce and reproduce our social worlds. Social phenomena that may initially seem obvious, natural, or fixed are often the result of interpretation and the social construction of meaning. And because meaning can change, so can society.